Hi there, I'm Jamie Karrh, and this is the last video for, we'll be assessing the musculoskeletal and the neurological system for 505. And I'm going to do the range of motion on myself, but I'm also going to be deferring to my patient for some things. So I would ask her for 2 patient identifiers and then ask her for consent. Do you consent to be videoed today?
Yes.
Thank you. And so for me, I'm going to start with the range of motion. I'm going to start off with showing you range of motion on my fingers. So flexion, extension, abduction, adduction. My wrists are flexion, extension, radial deviation, ulnar deviation. Elbows are flexion, extension, supination, pronation. For my shoulders is flexion, extension, circumduction, abduction, adduction, internal rotation, external rotation. For my neck is flexion, extension, rotation to the right, rotation to the left, right lateral bend, left lateral bend. For my spine is flexion, extension, rotation to the right, rotation to the left, right lateral bend, left lateral bend. For my hip is flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, internal rotation, external rotation. For my knee is flexion, extension, and for my ankle is plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, inversion, eversion, and for my toes are flexion, extension. Now I will be assessing for any sort of knee injury. So I'll be coming over to my patient. I'm going to be assessing for a LCL tear with the Vargas test. I'll be assessing for an MCL tear with the valgus test. I'll be assessing for an ACL tear with the anterior drawer test, a PCL tear with the posterior drawer test, and a meniscus injury with the McMurray test. So for the valgus test, I'm going to be assessing for the valgus is the medial area, so what I will do is be assessing for any sort of pain in the medial area or shifting of the kneecap. For the Vargas test, I'll be assessing for any sort of pain or shifting when I put pressure on it. For the anterior drawer test, I'll be testing for, place my knee against her foot and pulling forward, testing for any shifting of the kneecap for an ACL tear. And the posterior test is checking for any shifting of the kneecap for the posterior, for a PCL tear. For the McMurray test, I'm going to be checking for a meniscal injury by rotating up and feeling for any clicks or pops. Any pain there?
No.
And for the other side, great. And both the the meniscus, the medial and the lateral meniscus are intact. Next, I'll be testing for carpal tunnel syndrome. So if you'll come sit up over here, I'm going to have you do the tensile test. So the tensile test, I'm going to have you rotate your arm around, and I'll be tapping on the medial nerve, and if she feels any pain or tingling or numbness in the second, third, and fourth fingers or any radiation of pain down her hand, that would be a positive tensile test. For the Phelan's test, I'll have you hold your hands together just like this for 60 seconds. If she had any pain, tingling, or numbness in the medial nerve or in the back of their fingers, that would indicate a positive Phelan's test for carpal tunnel syndrome. Next, I am going to assess for a rotator cuff injury. So what I'll have you do is stand up if you don't mind. I'll start off by assessing your back. I'm going to palpate the sits muscles. So I'm going all along the sits muscles for any pain or tenderness. Any pain?
No.
I'm going to have you resist against movement against resistance. So if you'll push out against my arm, good. And go ahead and push up, good. And go ahead and press out with the forearm, good. And press in, great. And next I'll be doing the Apley scratch test. So if you will take we would compare both sides. We'd start off for all of these tests, start off with the good side and then do the bad side and assess how the bad side is affected. So we'll start off, pretend this is the bad side, this will be the good side. So if you will, just take your arm ahead and scratch your back, and I'll mark where she scratches, and the other side, good. And I'll mark where she scratches, and now go to your affected side, scratch your back, great. And the other side, And it was actually a little less. So that's the appley scratch test. Next, we'll do the drop arm test. So if you just hold your arm out at a 90-degree angle and hold it there, good. If she had a rotator cuff tear, her arm would either drop or she would be using other muscles to try and keep it up. And you would not want to do it higher than 90 degrees so that her bicep didn't take over. Next, I'll have you do range of motion with both arms. So just face me and go flexion, extension, circumduction, abduction, adduction, internal rotation, external rotation. Great. And that is it for rotator cuff. Next, I'll be assessing for scoliosis. So what I want to do is look at her back, and I want to look at her shoulders, iliac crest, and gluteal folds, make sure everything is even. I would have her turn and look for any winging of her scapula, so push against me, and I'm looking for any winging. A little bit of winging is normal in a thin person, but noted winging could indicate some form of scoliosis. And then finally, I'd have her without a shirt on, bend at a 90-degree angle, and I'll be assessing for any kind of S curvature or any anterior posterior curvature for any sort of scoliosis. None noted. All right, next I'll be looking for lower back pain. So what I will do is palpate the paravertebral muscles. Do you have any pain? No. Noting any pain or sensitivity. I will also be palpating, doing the assessing for point pain, spinous, palpating or spinous process, assessing for any point pain that could indicate a fracture or a vertebral problem. Do you have any pain when I palpate there? No. Great. Now I will have her do the cross leg test and the straight leg test. So if you don't mind laying down. And I'm going to have her raise her leg up and then to the point of pain, and then flex your foot and lower it down. And if she had pain, that would indicate some sort of lower back issue. The cross leg test would be to do the same thing on the other side and flex your foot and lower it down. And if she had pain on that side, that would indicate some sort of pain there. I would also, at this point, want to do some DTRs, which I'll do in just a minute when we begin the neurological assessment. And if you don't mind, and we'll do the range of motion one more time. I'm sorry, making go with that. So if you just do flexion, extension, and right lateral bend, left lateral bend, rotation to the right, and rotation to the left. Great. And that concludes the musculoskeletal portion of this exam. If you would have a seat for me, and actually you can sit up, I'm going to begin assessing the DTRs, the deep tendon responses. They're graded on a 0 to +4 scale. 0 is none, no response. +2 is normal. +4 is like a clonus or hyperactive response. I'll be assessing her supinator and her bicep, which are affected by the C5 and 6 portion of the spine. The tricep is affected by the C6 and 7 portion of the spine. The knee is L2, 3, and 4, and the ankle is S1. So what I want to do is just find your supinator area and just relax your wrist for me. I'm just going to lightly tap, and I should see a slight little jerk. That would be a normal response. The bicep is the only one that you do not do direct percussion, so I'll just do a bicep over the bicep tendon. A little jerk there is elicited. In the tricep area, right just above the elbow, just a little jerk. Sorry, does it hurt? No. Okay, and then slide back just a little bit so your foot is hanging, and I'll go right just below the kneecap, and just a little pop. Just enough to get a little jerk. She does have good reflexes. And on your ankle, just a little pop in the back of your ankle. Good. And just a little plantar flexion downward is a normal test. So next I will be doing the meningeal signs, assessing for any sort of meningitis. If you'll lay back for me, I'm going to do the Brudzinski sign. This is a simple test where you just have her flex flex her neck forward. If you don't mind, just flex your neck forward. And if her knees drew up or if she had any other movement in her extremities, that could indicate some sort of meningitis, but there was no extra movement. I'll also do the Karrh sign. What you'll do is just raise your leg for me and lower it down, Good. And raise your other leg for me. Lower it down. Good. And do you have any pain with that?
No.
Good. If she did have pain, that could indicate some possible meningitis, but it also could indicate lower back pain, so you would need a more definitive test to make sure. Finally, I'm going to do the Babinski's exam. This is a normal reflex in babies, but you usually outgrow it by about 1 or 2 years old. What I'll do is go across her foot, drawing a J pattern, and if she plantar flexes normal a little bit, that's normal. If she had any flexion of the toes or the great toe fanned out, that could indicate some possible meningitis. So and no response is normal. Good. Good. All right. Next, I will be assessing the coordination portion of the neurological exam. So if you don't mind standing up for me, I'm just going to have you walk over there towards Shelby using the camera. Just a normal gait. Great. And if you'll turn now and go toe to heel towards me. Good. And if you will go back towards Shelby on your toes. And back towards me on your heels. Good. And all of that seemed normal. If you wouldn't mind just hopping on one foot or the other. Great. Okay. Now I'll have you do the rapid alternating movements.
Okay.
So if you come and have a seat, I'm just going to have you go rotate your arms back and forth, back and forth. Great. And if you go a little faster and close your eyes. Great. And now if you could just do like this, finger to thumb, finger to thumb, finger to thumb. Good. Close your eyes. Great. And finally, for the final rapid alternating movement, I'm going to have you push your heel in my hand. And again, and put it down on the floor. Okay. And now down on the floor and that. And good. And you can go faster. Good. Great. Now we're going to do point-to-point assessment. So if you will, point to your nose and then point to my finger. And I'll just keep moving it while you're pointing to your nose. Great. And one more. Good. Okay. And now the finger to nose. So if you just arms out straight and then go back and forth alternating with your nose. Great. And good. And finally, I'm going to have you lay down and do the heel to shin test. So if you lay down and just take your heel and place it across your other chin and roll it down all the way to your ankle. Exactly. And the other side. Great. Okay. Now I'm going to have you stand up again. We're going to do the Romberg test. All you do is turn towards me, hold your arms out, and close your eyes and stand for 30 seconds. A normal sway is normal, but if she falls, we would suspect some sort of neurological deficit. Also, I am going to, you can open your eyes, I'm going to do the pronator drift exam. So what I want you to do is have your arms straight out and hold your arms straight out. Oh, the other one I would do for 60 seconds. And this one, you'd have her hold her arms out for about 30 to 60 seconds. And then I would check for any pronation of the arm. And at this point, I'm going to lower your arms down and bring them back up. And if anything pronated over, I would suspect some sort of lesion or problem with her brain. All right. Now we will move on to the sensory portion of the neurological exam. So you can have a seat. What I'm going to do is do the sensory perception. I'm going to have you hold your hand out, and I'm going to take your finger, and I want you to tell me if I'm moving it. I'm going to have you close your eyes. I want you to tell me if I'm moving it up or down. Okay. All right. Close your eyes, and up. Okay. Down. Okay. And I'm going to do the same with your toes. So close your eyes. Up. Down. Great. And now I'm going to be assessing for pain or soft touch. Okay. So if you will close your eyes, I'm going to move up your arm, pointing with either, this will be the painful stimuli or the cotton ball will be the soft touch, okay? So close your eyes, and what do you feel?
Pain. Soft touch. Pain. Soft touch. Pain.
Good. And I'm going to go the other hand.
Pain. Soft touch.
Great.
Pain. Soft touch. Pain. Soft touch.
And of course, everything I'm doing today would be bilaterally. All right, we'll do your feet as well. Okay.
Pain. Soft touch. Pain. Soft touch.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm going early.
Soft touch.
Okay.
Pain. Soft touch. Pain.
Okay, great. And finally, I'm going to see if you can feel vibrations. So what I'll do for this, I would sit, place the tuning fork along the dips of her fingers of her thumb in her triceps, shoulder, and sternum, and have her tell me if she felt it, and if we had time to tell me when she stopped, when the vibration stopped. But for purposes of the video, I'll just go straight through. I would also do her big toe and her ankle. Okay? So tell me, close your eyes and tell me if you feel this.
Yes. Yes. Now. 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 Now.
Great. And I'm going to do your foot.
Now. Now.
Great. All right. Finally, I'm going to do the discriminative sensory test. What I'm going to do is the stereognosis test. So what I'll have you do is close your eyes, and I'm going to put an object in your hand, and I want you to tell me what this object is.
A key.
Okay, great. And you can open your eyes. And finally, I'm going to do the graphesthesia test. I'm going to draw a number in your hand with your eyes closed, and you just tell me what number I wrote. Okay?
3.
Great. And that concludes my assessment of the neurological and the musculoskeletal system. Thank you very much. Do the ceiling.